Ever get that sinking feeling when you're stuck in one of those massive lecture halls? You know, the professor's going on and on about something, everyone around you seems to get it, and you're just like frantically trying to take notes that you're pretty sure will never make sense later.
Oh, tell me about it. It's like being in a foreign country where you don't speak the language, only it's a knowledge desert or something.
Totally. And it turns out there's a name for that feeling. It's called the two sigma problem.
Yeah, the two sigma problem. It's really fascinating when you think about it because it highlights how different learning can be depending on the environment. Basically, it says that students who have the benefit of one-on-one tutoring can end up doing way better than those stuck in those huge lectures. Like a whole 2 standard deviations better.
2 standard deviations. Isn't that like a huge difference?
Huge, like night and day. It shows how important that personal touch can be. But let's face it, in the real world, we can't exactly magic up a personal tutor for every single student.
Yeah, that's the dream, but it's not very practical. But what if, and I know this might sound a little out there, but what if we could use technology to bridge that gap?
Now you're talking. And that's precisely what we're going to dive into today, AI tutoring. Specifically, a project called SMARTA.
SMARTA. Okay, you've piqued my curiosity. What does SMARTA stand for?
It stands for Student Motivation and Reflective Training AI Assistance. We're looking at this research paper from the EdLearn 24 conference, and it's honestly some pretty groundbreaking stuff they're doing over there in Germany.
Okay, color me intrigued. So this SMARTA project, what are they hoping to accomplish with AI tutoring?
They're aiming high, that's for sure. Their goal is to use AI to create something that's just as effective as having your own personal tutor, but on a scale that could reach so many more students. And the best part is, it's not just theoretical. They've actually gone and integrated AI chatbots into a real, live university system.
Wait, they've let AI loose on actual students. Okay, now I have to know more. How does it actually work in practice?
The key here is integration.
Yeah.
They haven't just slapped on some generic chatbot and called it a day. They've really taken the time to weave these AI assistants into the existing university framework.
So what's the benefit of doing that?
Personalization, my friend. Because these chatbots are linked to the system, they have access to a goldmine of data about each student. We're talking their age, what courses they're taking, even their grades.
Wow, so this AI has a window into your entire academic life? That's kind of mind-blowing.
It is. And it allows for a whole new level of personalized interaction that we haven't seen before in the world of AI tutoring.
So none of those generic chatbot responses that you get from those customer service bots?
Nope. This is the real deal. Forget one size fits all. SMARTA's AI can tailor its responses to each student's unique situation.
That's seriously impressive. But enough about the techie stuff. Let's talk about these AI assistants themselves. What are they like? Do they have names, personalities?
They've put a ton of thought into how these AIs are designed. Each one has a unique personality, its own way of communicating, and they even paid attention to how they look.
Wait, visual appearance. So we're not just talking lines of code here.
Exactly. They wanted to make sure the AI assistants were engaging and something students would want to interact with, but not creepy.
Yeah, I can see how going for the whole creepy AI thing might backfire. So tell me more about these AI assistants. Who are they?
Well, there are 3 main ones. We've got Alex. Alex is like your own personal cheerleader, always there to give you a boost when you're feeling down or just need a little extra motivation.
So if I'm drowning in homework and ready to throw in the towel, Alex will be there with a virtual pep talk.
Think of it as more than just a pep talk. Alex is designed to offer real, genuine support. But here's what's really cool. It can actually detect if you're struggling.
Seriously, this AI can tell if a student is about to have a meltdown?
That's the beauty of SMARTA. They wanted to go beyond those surface-level interactions. By analyzing how a student writes, even their word choice, Alex can pick up on subtle clues that they might be having a tough time.
That's amazing. But what happens when Alex detects something's up? Does it, try to give therapy?
Not at all. Alex is programmed to be helpful, but it's not a therapist. If a student seems to be dealing with something serious, Alex gently points them in the right direction. Like their university counseling services, or even provides emergency contact info.
Okay, that makes sense. For a second there, I was picturing AI giving out medical advice, and well, that's a whole other can of worms.
Don't worry, they've thought of that. They have safeguards in place. But here's where things get really interesting. SMARTA actually tracks how a student's mood changes while they're talking to the chatbot.
Hold on, how do they do that without listening in on private conversations?
Great question. Protecting student privacy is a top priority for the SMARTA team. The system doesn't actually record what's being said. Instead, it focuses on how the student's mood shifts throughout the conversation.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. How do they measure mood without recording the words?
They use these things called sentiment trajectories. So let's say a student starts chatting with Alex feeling totally defeated, but by the end, they're feeling more hopeful, ready to tackle those challenges. That's a motivation reboot trajectory.
So it's like Alex gave them that much-needed nudge to get back on track.
Exactly. Then there are things like euphoria decline, where maybe a student starts super optimistic but ends up feeling worse. Researchers can look at these patterns to see what's working and what's not and make the AI even better.
It's like having a feedback loop built right in.
Hmm.
Brilliant. Okay, so we've met Alex, the motivational guru. What about the other AI assistants? What makes them different?
Let's move on to Robin. Robin is all about deep thinking and encouraging students to learn by asking the right questions. Like the Socratic method.
Robin and the Socratic method, that sounds a lot more intense.
Maybe a little, but it's not as intimidating as it sounds. Just like Socrates challenged his students with thought-provoking questions, Robin uses a similar approach to get those critical thinking skills flowing.
So instead of just giving me the answer, Robin would guide me to figure things out on my own through questions.
You got it. Robin isn't about spoon-feeding information. It's about prompting you to think for yourself, to come to your own conclusions, like having a personal tutor who's always up for a good debate.
That's fantastic. It's so easy to fall into that trap of just passively absorbing information, but Robin forces you to really engage with what you're learning on a whole new level.
And what's fascinating here is that it's not about leading students to one right answer. They've adapted the Socratic method in a way that encourages open-mindedness.
So no hidden agendas or pushing a specific viewpoint.
Exactly. With Robin, it's all about encouraging critical thinking, exploring different perspectives, helping students become well-rounded thinkers.
This reminds me of those late-night study sessions where you're bouncing ideas off your friends and suddenly it just clicks. Except this time, your study buddy is a 24/7 AI.
Love that analogy. And the research shows that students are actually spending more time interacting with Robin than the other chatbots.
Really? I guess those deep conversations can be pretty addictive once you get going. So, we've got motivation covered. We've got the deep thinking angle. What does the third AI assistant bring to the table?
That would be Melly. Melly's all about interactive learning, diving into the actual course material, and having a back and forth with students.
So if Robin's the philosophy professor and Alex is the cheerleader, Melly's the one who actually helps me pass the test.
You got it. Melly gets into the nitty-gritty of specific subjects. But here's the thing. Everything Melly talks about is grounded in official course material.
That's a relief to hear. I've run into AI chatbots that just make things up as they go along, and let me tell you, it can be a recipe for disaster.
Oh, absolutely. And the SMARTA team was very aware of that. They designed Melly with accuracy in mind.
Okay, so let's say I'm totally lost on a particular concept. Can I turn to Melly for help? And it'll not only point me to the right chapter in the textbook, but actually have a conversation with me about it.
Exactly. And remember how we talked about the AI assistants having access to student data?
Yeah, that whole personalized approach still blows my mind.
Well, Melly takes it up a notch. It doesn't just know what classes you're taking. It has access to the syllabus, the module handbooks, the work.
Stay out of here. It's like having an AI study buddy who actually did the reading.
And here's the kicker. Melly can even simulate test situations.
Whoa, hold on. Are you telling me this AI can actually give me a pop quiz? That's next level.
It's like having a personalized study session, anytime, any place. But don't worry, it's all for practice. Any feedback from Melly isn't an official grade or anything like that.
Okay, good. I was about to have a flashback to my high school exams. Still, the idea that AI can create that exam-like experience is incredible. It makes you wonder, though, with all this talk about AI assistants, what does it mean for real, live, human teachers? Are we all doomed? Are robots taking over the classroom?
I wouldn't say doomed or taking over, but yeah, I think it's pretty clear that AI is going to be a much bigger part of education in the future.
So more like AI teaching assistants working alongside human teachers.
Right. I mean, think about it. AI could take over a lot of those tedious tasks like grading, giving feedback, even delivering some lectures.
And that frees up human teachers to do what exactly?
All the things that they're really good at, things AI can't do, like mentoring students, having those in-depth discussions, inspiring creativity, the human stuff.
Okay, that actually doesn't sound so bad. In fact, it sounds kind of awesome. But the SMARTA project, it's still in the early stages, right?
It is early days, but that's what's so exciting. They're constantly tinkering with the AI, adding new bells and whistles, figuring out what works and what doesn't.
So what's next for SMARTA? What are they working on right now?
One of the coolest things they're doing is using all those past interactions, all those conversations, to personalize future ones.
You mean the AI actually remembers what we talked about and uses it to get to know us better?
Precisely. The goal is to get as close as possible to that gold standard of one-on-one tutoring, where the tutor really knows you and how you learn best.
That's amazing. It's like having an AI tutor who's also a mind reader.
Sort of. They're also working on making sure the AI is woven into the entire university experience.
Like what kinds of things?
Imagine this. You've got an appointment coming up, maybe paper due, or even, how you did on that last quiz, the AI knows about it, and it can use that information to give you a little nudge.
A nudge. How so?
It might send you a reminder, suggest some study materials, even connect you with other students who are working on the same project.
Wow. It's like having a personal assistant for all things university related.
Yeah.
Talk about next level organization. But with all this talk about personalized AI, it makes me wonder about access. Is this the kind of technology that's only going to be available at, like, those fancy Ivy League schools?
That's definitely a concern. And to be honest, it's something researchers are still grappling with. Ideally, they want AI assistants like these to be available to every student, regardless of where they go to school.
I hope they figure it out, because giving every student that kind of personalized support, that could be huge. Talk about leveling the playing field.
Couldn't agree more.
Well, as we wrap up this deep dive into the world of AI tutoring, what's the one big takeaway you hope our listeners are left with today?
I think the biggest takeaway is this. AI has the power to revolutionize education. We're really just scratching the surface of what's possible.
It's exciting, a little bit scary, but mostly exciting. And for our listeners who are just as intrigued by this as we are, here's a little something to think about. If you could design your own personal AI tutor, what would it be like? What would you want it to help you learn? And how would it be different from anything out there? Until next time, keep those brains buzzing.